everyone. It's time for my NEH Andromeda deck. And this time I'm not playing against NEH. I'm facing off against a Jinteki Personal Evolution Stabteki deck. Alright, so I first installed a Desperado for massive click efficiency, and on my second click I steal a Veto AI. So this is one of the best ways I can ever spend my opening hand of 9 credits. And I'm not even being sarcastic, because Veto AI is such a pain to steal, but when you start with 9 cards in your hand, it makes it much easier to steal that Veto AI. And I top deck another agenda, an unorthodox predictions. Very unorthodox choice indeed. Alright, so actually this is a pretty good start. Yes, I'm on 3 agenda points, and the corp in absolutely no danger of the corp flatlining me. So yes, very good. But now I'm pretty poor because I didn't start with a sure gamble. I first run on the remote and sniped off his House of Knives. I read his mind there. Very typical when you Mushin something out and then follow it up with an unadvanced card. Typically the unadvanced card is something that you are trying to mask with the Mushin. So I was more than happy to steal the House of Knives because that is an agenda I cannot afford to let him have. This is not my typical silhouette deck, so I'm a little worried. While I have 5 more cards in the silhouette deck to play around with, I do not have any exposed effects at all, so this is going to be very risky playing. I cannot afford to run anything that is Mushin down, because if it's a Cerebral Overwriter, I might as well throw the towel. That is, I'm not going to win against that. And I have no counters whatsoever to net or brain damage, so I have to play very carefully. Now, I have one big counter to this Stabteki, and that is none other than Keyhole. Unfortunately, I only have run 2 copies on it, and the first copy was sniped off on the first turn. Perhaps it would have been a better play to install Keyhole on my first turn and Keyhole thrice. That could have tossed a lot of agendas into archives, but I decided that I wanted to play it out for the long run as opposed to getting a good burst early on, but then risk running out of steam later on. Alright, he gets a lot of remote setup. I hope none of them are agendas. Yep. I think there is a huge incentive for me as Andromeda to run remotes because I'm playing Desperado, so even if I run into a trap, at least I'm gaining 1 credit from it. Although right now, credits aren't really the thing I need. Now I need the Keyhole, the last remaining Keyhole in my deck, to safely retrieve agendas from archives. Okay, he scores a Clone Retirement. Very, very interesting agenda spread we see here. Typically, we see House of Knives and Killer Hands. Here, there's unorthodox predictions, there's fast advanced Clone Retirement. Very, very interesting choice. Clone Retirement might actually be a good idea because it's something that you can score straight from hand. Although typically Stabteki doesn't really mind making remotes, but well, I don't know. Tough to say. And the bad pup doesn't really affect this deck in much of a way. Alright, here is where the game entirely flips over on its head, changes entirely. I access a Mother Goddess from R&D. You have no idea how much I want to trash that dang Mother Goddess. That is the worst card I could ever expect to see on top of R&D, because it's worse than a snare, honestly, because I know he's going to put it on R&D, and that completely shuts me out. The only means of defense I have against Mother Goddess is the Femme Fatale, and I've already installed my Femme Fatale. So basically, let's put it to put it in English, I am not getting through R&D ever again. I need to find my agendas from archives, HQ, or face checking remotes, and that takes away a huge chunk of my win condition, because keyholing agendas into archives is by far the safest means for me to win the game. I know he probably has a Jackson Howard lying around somewhere, but I cannot afford to. I'd rather have him use his Jackson Howard than to, than having to face check blindly. Alright, so I stole a Clone Retirement from a double advance card. Double advanced cards aren't that scary for me because the worst it could be is really a double advanced cerebral overrender. So I still have max hand size of 3, I can still survive a Ronin. So that is the important distinction between running a double advanced and a triple advanced card. And that clone retirement was very important because this puts me on match point. 5 points to his 2. So now I install the imp and make a run on HQ. Let's see how lucky I get. Unlucky rather, I access the snare. Pay to trash, and moving on. Well, maybe I shouldn't have trashed it, but I'm looking to make multiple runs on HQ. He doesn't seem to be interested in rezzing his HQ ice, because with very good reason, because he doesn't want Mother Goddess to gain any subtypes. Once he rezzes the ice, Mother Goddess will lose its effectiveness. Remember, I don't run any AI breakers in this deck, so once he rezzes any other ice other than Mother Goddess, I can potentially get through R&D. And this is why I'm also not running through R&D just yet, because I know I'm going to stop the Keyhole and I'm going to take attack. Jackson Howard goes in the trash for sure. That's not something I want him to have. My credits are bringing me a long way, but now I'm running low, and that's where Katie comes in with another boatload of 6 credits for me to use. This is, once again, Katie Jones is so good against Jinteki PE because with just one Katie Jones on table, she can provide you all the money you need for the rest of the game, along with Desperado. Alright, I begin with a Keyhole run. Sure enough, he rezzes Mother Goddess. So, I tag. What do? Data leak. Yes. I was pondering between my last 2 influence points. Should I use it on Data Leak or the source? I chose Data Leak and it's paying off very handsomely right now. So he has 2 random cards in archives. Problem is I don't know what these random cards are. They could be agendas, they may not be agendas. In any case, I'm not sure if I want to risk it. Alright, he single advances a card in the remote. I know what that is. It's a Philotic Entanglement. Philotic Entanglement will do 5 net damage to me, wiping out my entire hand. So whatever I do this turn, I must finish with 5 cards in hand, no less. And I'm pretty sure I cannot get through that server because I'm running central only breakers. So first I get my money, I continue thinking of what I should do. I'm looking at his archives, I decide to make an archives run. Why? I think that's a good idea because I need to force him to use his Jackson Howard. No, I realized what I should. I just realized, yes. I took 3 credits. I did not make a run, so if he zaps me for 5 net damage with Philotic, he won't be able to follow that up with a Neuro EMP because you need to make a successful run in order to use Neuro EMP. So I'm at least delaying his win by 1 turn. Okay, he advances and does score. Nope, that's not a Philotic, that's an unorthodox prediction. Very interesting. And he names Codegate. Very, very interesting. Well, I'm more than happy that it's not a Philotic Entanglement. So, moving on, I run his HQ. And it's a Chimera, so that's why he hasn't been rezzing it all game. Yep, it will tax him to no end. And now that he names Codegate, I cannot get through. So, since that was an unsuccessful run, I milled even more agendas into archives and cleared the tag. Tag clearing is very important because I want all my resources on table, and more importantly, no Scorched Earth for you. Alright, first click, run archives. I'm very sure I run archives here. There are 4 random cards in archives. I want to make sure that, yes, forcing to use the Jackson Howard. So, very important what he reshuffles. He reshuffles the Jackson Howard and 2 other cards, probably 2 agendas. Alright. I do access archives and take 1 net damage from the shock that I trashed. That's unfortunate, but it can't be helped. Thankfully, it's only 1 shock. Yep. So, I guess now my win condition is to slowly grind his agendas from R&D turn by turn. It's a very slow way to win, but I have no choice because I do not have an answer for a lone Mother Goddess, unfortunately. I could always throw a leg work into HQ, but I would lose way too many cards. Alright, he expands his Ronin that has been sitting on the table for the entire game. But he doesn't kill me with it. I am very surprised he chose to do that. If I were him, what I would have done was to advance the Ronin to 4. To make me think that it's a Ronin, I probably wouldn't run it. Okay, here's a very important turn of events. He reses the Quandary on the remote. Now, Mother Goddess is a code gate. I can get through Mother Goddess. But, on the same token, I have to lose attack, and he installs new cards. I lost sight of this for a second, actually. I didn't realize that R&D was free for my picking. It would cost 3 to get through, but that 3, yep. Okay, so now I score the House of Knives. I'm on 6 agenda points, but now I'm in a very precarious position. If that agenda in the remote is a Philotic Entanglement, I lose the game. So I had to do a Hail Mary run on HQ, and I found a Fetal AI to win the game. Well, I think he revealed his card at the end of the game. The single advanced card turned out to be a June bug. He was trying to bait me into an inside job in that remote, so yeah, it wasn't a Philotic Entanglement. I'm not sure where his Philotic Entanglement was. That was pretty odd, especially since he runs Fast Track in this deck. If I were him, I would have Fast Track and Philotic Entanglement and, start putting pressure on me. Well, but yes, very, very lucky that I didn't suffer any effects of Philotic Entanglement. There were enough opportunities to flatline me with that throughout the game. Very thankfully, he didn't manage to find his Philotic. Either that or he didn't pull it off. So very, very lucky for me. As I always say, once you steal the Philotic Entanglement, the single copy from the corp, you have already won half the game. Not the best deck to fight against Stabteki, but I think this game I won only because he got unlucky, and at the same time I managed to read his agendas pretty well. Most of my remote runs were, yes, pretty much, now that I recall, every single remote run was spot on. Every single time I ran a remote, I hit an agenda. The House of Knives, that was from the remote. The Claw Retirement was also from the remote. It seemed like my accuracy was pretty spot on, and that really helped me win the game. If he had gotten the House of Knives and the Claw Retirement instead, things would have been very different. Thanks for watching. Happy night running.